On October 11th, a video circulated from mainland China showing that on October 8th, a high school sports field in Sichuan province had a deep hole in the ground, causing someone to fall into a cesspool. Nearby individuals used a ladder to assist in the rescue. According to the Sichuan Renshou County Education and Sports Bureau on October 11th, this incident occurred at 7:05 a.m. on October 8th. 14 students from Huada Comprehensive High School in Sichuan Renshou County fell into a filter tank when they were walking from the sports field to their classrooms. The school principal, Li Gang, informed the paper that the sports field was constructed in 2004 and preliminary assessment suggests that the problem may have been caused by the corrosion and fracture of precast panels in the ground. A netizen left comments questioning the quality of the playground. Unfinished projects require compensation. A shoddy construction project. Compensation is necessary. It's all just a hindsight reaction. They only investigate any part that has problems when it's already too late. Was there any supervision and inspection throughout the construction process? Accountability must be determined. This is just too shoddy. This is a shoddy construction project. Accountability must be demanded. Bring all parties involved to court. Shoddy contractors. How much kickbacks did the responsible person receive? Low-quality construction. The school principal needs to be thoroughly investigated. Some netizens said, students have psychological shadow. I will not dare to enter the playground in the future. Falling into the septic tank is very dangerous. The man in the video is Mr. Miao, a well-known professor in the civil engineering department at a local university. Mr. Liao explained that at the end of 2017, he purchased a new property in a Nanjing community to improve his living conditions. Early this year, when he started the interior renovations, he discovered some major issues. The ceiling of the new living room was entirely filled with mud mortar. When he lightly touched it, it started falling down. In other areas, you could easily remove the mud mortar, but it was only in the living room that the issue was prevalent. When you touched it, the mud mortar crumbled.
那个砂浆就往下掉，就是这两个砂浆这个地方，我觉得是施工质量的问题。那么这个配镜不够，就是偷工减料。
On 14th May 2023, a recent news story with the headline neighbor demolishes 3 load-bearing walls, turning woman's new house into a hazardous structure, has sparked widespread attention among netizens. This incident occurred in Xi'an, Hebei, where Ms. was in the middle of renovating her new house when she discovered that the upstairs neighbor had privately demolished 3 load-bearing walls. Ms. Qi immediately contacted the relevant authorities and expressed extreme concern about safety. She also discussed the possibility of moving out with the property management. However, the property manager stated that, according to regulations, Ms. Qi could only seek a refund at the place where she bought the property. Therefore, she went to the sales office to request a refund and demanded that the neighbor halt renovations and wait for a testing report from an appraisal institution before proceeding with any further work. Load-bearing walls are the backbone of a building, primarily responsible for supporting the structure's weight. Consequently, they must not be altered or removed at will. However, when an owner privately demolishes load-bearing walls, it destabilizes the structure of the building, posing a serious threat to public safety. This conduct is suspected to constitute a crime of endangering public safety through dangerous means and will likely result in criminal charges for the involved owner. This incident serves as a reminder that privately demolishing load-bearing walls is an extremely dangerous and illegal act. Load-bearing walls play a crucial role in buildings, supporting the structure's weight and providing fire resistance, soundproofing, and insulation. If a load-bearing wall is removed or damaged, the entire building's structural integrity is compromised, risking severe injury, even loss of life, for residents and bystanders. Thus, we urge homeowners and contractors to always recognize the significance of load-bearing walls and refrain from altering their structure without professional consultation. During renovation, consult experts to ensure that the renovation plan is both reasonable and safe. Additionally, relevant authorities should enhance supervision and inspection of construction and renovation projects, enforce laws strictly, and penalize those involved in illegal acts such as the unauthorized removal of load-bearing walls to safeguard public safety and property. For Ms. Key, this incident has brought her considerable distress and concern. As a homeowner, she should have enjoyed a secure and comfortable living environment. Yet her neighbors' irresponsible actions have turned her home into a hazardous place. Her rights have been violated, and she faces unpredictable risks. On August 14, 2023, reporters visited a dilapidated building in Harbin, Xi'an, which had already been evacuated by its residents. However, what struck many as odd was that workers were painting the exterior walls of this uninhabited building. The community's response to this painting of a dilapidated building was that it was done for the sake of improving the city's appearance. This social news video received over 50,000 comments, all expressing the anger and frustration of netizens. People questioned why an uninhabited, dilapidated building was being painted, considering it a significant waste of resources in terms of labor and finances. The comments pointed out that the reason for painting the exterior walls of a building that nobody lives in was for the sake of improving the city's appearance, a matter of aesthetics. This expenditure was deemed justifiable by the community for this purpose. However, for the common people, it was seen as an impractical waste of resources. Acts like painting the exterior of uninhabited buildings, covering exposed mountains with green paint, or draping unfinished construction sites in green cloth have become commonplace in China. These superficial projects, which don't address real issues, are a source of frustration for the Chinese public. Rather than tackling real problems, these actions attempt to mask them with superficial measures. This is not only disheartening but also frustrating for the public. The funds used to paint the exterior of uninhabited, dilapidated buildings come from somewhere, often from the local government's budget. Using taxpayers' money for such seemingly wasteful projects is criticized as a shameful act, especially when there are pressing issues related to the well-being of the citizens. There are concerns about the safety of the workers who are painting these dilapidated buildings, especially considering they are already structurally compromised. If an accident were to occur while they were working, it raises questions about whether city aesthetics should take precedence over worker safety. The incident of painting the exterior of an uninhabited, dilapidated building in Harbin highlights a recurring problem in China, where impractical actions often take precedence over addressing the real issues that affect citizens.
你看我们房子到处都是炸裂的，站到那地下你们都感觉到是倾斜的，整栋楼都是这种情况。
要爬就是一瞬间的事情，105有几百人。
起码公布那个房子能不能住人，
包括街道、包括教育局的三方协调进行推进，街道现在的第三方鉴定机构就现在进行鉴定。预计下周如果结果出来，我们第三。
On 2nd May 2023, in Harbin's Songbei district, multiple homeowners in a residential community have reported that someone demolished load-bearing walls, leading to the evacuation of residents from the entire building. Residents may have to move or relocate, causing irreversible damage to community stability. From the perspective of architecture and structural mechanics, the building has already developed extensive cracks, and even if repairs are made, the building is now considered unsafe. It's worth noting that this building houses approximately 240 households, and the estimated losses are expected to exceed 160 million yuan, without accounting for future demolition and its impact on neighboring residents. The losses are only likely to increase, not decrease.
我在家住了人了呀，我整天担惊受怕的，我这些事我都吃不下睡不着的，这不赶紧睡着，跟爸爸干个俺咋过的俺这是。
Miss Cao told reporters that her house was a big package, and she hired a contractor named Mr. Zhu to work on it. From the start of construction until the roof was completed, everything was fine. However, when they were preparing to paint the walls, problems arose. It made a roaring sound, and at first they didn't know what it was. My child said there was a fire on the roof, so they went to check. The walls started to crumble. The wall's surface deformed, and the newly built house suddenly looked like this. Mrs. Cao quickly contacted Mr. Zhu, the contractor, who brought bricks. When they brought back the bricks, they looked just like regular bricks with no anomalies. However, after the house was built, after the wind and the moisture in the air, it took about 20 days for the problem to appear. The walls began to bulge and expand. As the walls expanded, they deformed. The bricks had a high calcium content. Yes, they had these white spots. In reality, during quality inspections, they could have identified such issues when they left the factory, but for some reason, he allowed them to leave the factory. Mr. Zhu explained that he had been working in construction for a long time and regularly obtained bricks from Hengfa Brick Factory in Yuzhou City. Such issues had never arisen before. Now that this has happened, he feels very uncomfortable. He has been cooperating with this brick factory for many years and has always had a very good and cooperative relationship. But now that this problem has arisen, he felt wronged, and for the first time, he felt sorry. This issue is even more serious than substandard construction materials. It involves hardness and strength, but the bricks themselves don't have that. After this problem occurred, Mr. Zhu quickly contacted the brick factory, and the brick factory acknowledged that there was a problem with the bricks but was slow to offer a suitable solution. The brick factory said, "How many bricks did you use? I'll compensate you with bricks." That's impossible, because the problem with the bricks caused other losses in terms of labor and other materials. Many losses are not just about the quantity of bricks. In addition, when not addressed promptly, it could easily lead to the collapse of the lower part of the house. There is a floor above and people live below. If it leads to a life-threatening situation, the problem becomes even more significant. At the same time, Mr. Zhu told reporters that the bricks are delivered in batches, and if there is a problem with one batch, it means that this batch of bricks cannot be spared. Once they flow into the market and are used, there is a high likelihood of a major problem. As far as I know, their factory manager was responsible from April 8 to April 15. They produced 100,000 bricks daily, totaling 800,000. That's what their manager told you, right? Yes, that's it. Now, is the situation as Mr. Zhu described it? Reporters followed Mr. Zhu to Hengfa Brick Factory in Yuzhou City to investigate the situation. Because many coal mines have merged now, it's not easy to haul coal. Some drivers mix substandard coal with good coal, for example, the one with a high calcium content. He might bring it to you, but when we use it, we don't check it. And it is checked in the lab because when the quantity is large, you can only check, such as sampling is very small. At the same time, regarding Mr. Zhu's concerns about a large batch of bricks entering the market, the factory manager, Mr. He, said he was unaware and that it should be a question for the Quality Supervision Bureau. It is more accurate. Ask the Quality Supervision Bureau because the batches of goods have specific regulations. The factory will send someone to verify the degree of this issue, and then they will work on it. That is the second step. They will also use bricks from the bricks. They will continue to negotiate. In Ms. Kao's family, the house could collapse at any moment. The brick factory manager still wants to negotiate further. Although we don't know how many problematic bricks have entered the market, we do know that regardless of the problem, you cannot negotiate with life safety. Ms. Kao's family's life safety cannot be negotiated. On October 7th, a large-scale collapse occurred on a road in Huma, Shaanxi, which has had a significant impact on local traffic. After learning of the situation, local authorities immediately arrived at the scene and blocked off the accident site. Excavators were also deployed to the collapse site for construction and filling.
全部没和这个连接上，应该这个砖要靠近里面去，要插在里面去，因为它全是一个齐头了。哦，它这个没办法了，就是这个砖和这个对齐的应该是。
A construction expert purchased a hazardous roof beam. When he touched it, it crumbled, and even the steel reinforcement was substandard, akin to shoddy construction work. For ordinary folks like us, buying a house is a joyous occasion, and we can't wait to move in. However, sometimes it's only during interior renovations that you discover hidden problems, which can be difficult for non-professionals to spot. In this case, a construction expert from Nanjing purchased a new property only to realize during renovations that it was a complete shoddy construction job. So, what exactly happened? In this video, a man is pointing out several issues with the construction, emphasizing the need for proper structural integrity and alignment. The main concerns are related to inadequate reinforcement, poor construction methods, and substandard materials used in the construction. The expert concludes that the structural issues, subpar materials, and poor workmanship pose significant safety hazards, and there's a high likelihood of problems like cracking or collapsing occurring in the future if corrective actions are not taken. Tofu dreg construction persists in China due to a combination of factors. The short-term economic goals. China's authoritarian governance system places immense pressure on local officials to meet short-term economic growth targets. These officials are often rewarded based on these targets, leading to a focus on speedy construction and development to boost GDP rankings and secure promotions. This emphasis on speed can lead to shortcuts in construction and safety measures. A lack of accountability. When construction accidents occur, lower-level individuals are often held accountable, while senior officials and developers evade responsibility. The absence of an independent judiciary and a climate of censorship can obstruct justice and deter proper investigations. The suppressed civil society. Grassroots organizations and civil society groups that could advocate for quality construction are often silenced and constrained, preventing them from challenging the system. In essence, China's political climate prioritizes rapid development over deliberate safety, spectacle over substance, and profits over people. These dynamics contribute to the continued prevalence of tofu dreg construction. Real solutions to this issue will require fundamental reforms in governance philosophy and an environment that encourages transparency and accountability. In April 2021, a major residential self-built house collapse occurred in Changsha, Hunan Province, resulting in 54 deaths, including 44 university students. Reviewing news from previous years, substandard construction projects have been seen repeatedly. For instance, in Yunnan, a newly constructed road collapsed the day after it was opened. In Hunan, the Tuojiang Bridge collapsed before completion, and the Yangingtan Bridge, which cost 1.8 billion RMB, collapsed less than a year after its opening. The subpar construction quality resulted in a catastrophic scene when 4 trucks crossed the bridge, leading to loss of life and property. Substandard construction projects always make us angry but often leave us feeling powerless. Cutting corners and reducing materials. Cutting corners and reducing materials account for over half of the reasons for substandard construction projects. Many construction companies, unable to guarantee the quality of construction, shorten the construction period without restrictions, blindly aim to increase efficiency, and economize on materials or substitute materials. The end result is a worrying decline in the quality of the building. Unreasonable architectural design and inadequate construction techniques. Factors like these contribute to about 1/5 of substandard construction projects. Many designers pursue trends, focus on personalization, and prioritize aesthetics while often neglecting the rationality of structural forces, stability of structural equipment, and whether safety factors are sufficient. Failed production management. Excessive management scope on the part of managers. Originally, a construction site supervisor could only manage 40 workers. However, to save labor costs, they often overwork themselves, handling double the number of workers, assuming there are no major quality issues. They appear to be doubling productivity for half the work, but this approach is not without its problems.